It's my favorite MacBook Pro I've ever used from Apple. And I even was using them from the PowerBook era, way back when they were black. Stealthy black. Bring it back, Apple. Black is back. M1 Max. Let's make that happen. What's going on, guys? I am back with my third and final video. I won't say final because you never know what'll come up, but my final video for the time being with the M1 Max MacBook Pro 16-inch. I did a first impressions. I did a comparison against the 12th gen Intel processor, where this just kicks a major ass. And now I'm gonna give you my final thoughts on this machine. I've been using it for the past couple of months, and I'm just gonna call it the beast. If you want a Cliff Notes version of this review and you don't have time to watch this video, I hope you do, but I mean, if you don't have time, this is the best content creators laptop, PC for the price, or computer money can buy right now. That's my personal opinion. You may or may not agree with me, but based on my usage, video editing, photography, content creation, just media playback, daily usage, it doesn't get much better than this. So that is my Clip Notes version of the review. I'll touch on some of the highlights I've talked about in other videos. We'll put a link to that. You can check that out. But for right now, let's dig in a little bit deeper on the M1 Max MacBook Pro. The design, Apple has sort of regressed a little bit in design. It's a little bit thicker, it's bigger, has more ports, has an SD card slot into it. MagSafe is back, so you get that magnetic latch locked to it when you're charging it. But I like to also charge via USB-C as well. It's all there, so you could say Apple is, taking some feedback. They've listened to the users of these laptops and said, hey, we want more than just a few ports. We don't care about thinness, we want power. We want something that is efficient, that can actually do the work that we need to, especially in 3D rendering, 8K video. If you're using After Effects or Motion, you're creating content that demands power. You need a laptop that can handle it. That's where this M1 Max comes into play, and it does it beautifully. The keyboard is fantastic on it. The trackpad is large, it's massive, it feels great, so easy to use. This Retina XDR display is a thing of effing beauty. Can I say that online? Can I say that, Zaki? Effing beauty? Honestly, I've not seen a laptop display as beautiful as this. Obviously, Apple has a display that's $6,000 USD that is probably equivalent or better, but outside of that, this is the creme de la creme. It is so beautiful to use. As a matter of fact, when I use this at home sometimes, I actually have to hook it up to an external display, which is a beautiful display in its own right. But this is so nice, it doesn't compare. So either I buy that $6,000 Apple display, or I just end up using the 16-inch display because it really is that great. Colors are accurate. Everything is so rich, and so it just looks great when you're editing. The speaker systems in this laptop is fantastic as well. Now, the 16-inch MacBook Pro a couple of years ago, the Intel variant, the speakers on that were really, really good. It's improved with this slightly. There is a difference. You're gonna notice it, but it sounds fantastic. But of course, with a machine like this, you probably are not gonna be using the speakers on your laptop, right? You've got speakers already at home, it's on your desk, you're gonna plug it in, it's gonna sound even better. But if you're on the go in a hotel, or if you're out on location somewhere and you need access to speakers, these will do the jobs. Even the microphones inside of this also work really well. If you wanna do your Zoom calls, your Microsoft Teams, FaceTime, this will work really good with that. Let's talk a little about the specs inside of this bad boy. We've got, as I mentioned, the M1 Max is the 10-core CPU, 32-core GPU, 64 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabytes of storage inside of this beast. This is almost maxed out. This would be the optimal configuration for my wants and needs if budget wasn't an issue. But of course, this laptop does come in at a pretty significant price point with this setup. Again, this is meant for really professional content creators or those who want the best laptop money can buy pretty much right now, and it's gonna last you for a few years. Now, a lot of people will say, what about the M1 Pro, right? The M1 Pro is fantastic. It will do the job for you as well. But the M1 Max, if you want an investment that's gonna take you into 2023, maybe even 2024, I would spring for this. The Mac Pro, or the M1 Pro, I think good for a couple of years as well, but the Max is just that bit better. If you need this kind of power, this is the laptop to pick up. How do I use this for the most part? I use a lot of Photoshop, I use a lot of Lightroom, and I use Final Cut. I dabble with Premiere Pro a little bit, when we did our comparison, because Zaki likes Premiere Pro. He's still You know, he's on a PC. Forgive him. He'll get there. He'll get there. But I use Final Cut because of the efficiency and how great it is with ProRes and how fast it is. So I have really thoroughly enjoyed using Final Cut on this. Even 8K, no issues at all, but primarily I shoot in 4K, and this thing just eats up 4K for a snack. It's nothing to it, you know, and I'm dropping various different layers on that, you know, different timelines, pictures, photographs, music, everything in there, and it works great, no issues. I have no problems with this. Photoshop as well has been great with it. Lightroom, and I'm shooting what the GFX 100S image is, 100 megapixel, about 200 megabytes an image, eats it up, no issues at all. The only program I found so far that has been a little bit taxing on this, and it's because of the usage of memory, is Luminar Ai. Luminar Ai, if you have it open and you're using it along with Photoshop or Lightroom, you maybe get a low memory warning, and it has nothing to do with actually the usage of the memory inside the computer. It's because of the way that Luminar doesn't really maximize the M1 chipset and the efficiency of the RAM, so you get some of these issues. So to overcome that, you just have to shut down Lightroom or Photoshop when you're using Luminar, and you shouldn't have an issue with it, but it's something that I've come across, so keep that in mind if you are a Luminar user like myself. Because I like Luminar sometimes. It's great as a plugin for Photoshop, and at the same time, it really does there's really some nice editing features inside of it. Outside of that though, I mean, day-to-day usage, of course, browsing the web, YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff, but when I need that kind of content creation, I need that great battery life. This is the go-to for me. And the great thing about this laptop is I don't need to have it plugged in to maximize the power out of it. And now we talked about this when we did our 8K rendering versus the 12th generation Intel chipset. We were doing the battle with this unplugged the entire time, and the power, as Apple claimed, is the same as it is plugged in. And we could attest to that. It worked beautifully and brilliantly. Again, when you're using pro applications, the battery life will drain faster than if you're just browsing the web or using Microsoft Word or Pages or PowerPoint for that matter, but that's like any other laptop out there, so that's just something to keep in mind. The latest OS from Apple is fantastic. The updates these companies are putting out through Adobe, through Capture One, they're continually improving their software to maximize this M1 chipset and how it's designed to utilize RAM and storage and everything else. So you're gonna see a better efficiency and better power and just better overall performance in the months to come. It's great so far, and it's gonna continue to get even better. And I've seen that over the last couple months I've been using it. So if there was any complaints I had on this laptop, it would be the amount of USB-C Thunderbolt 4 ports on this. Now there's only 3. You have an HDMI port, you have a SD card slot there now, which is great, mic input jack, but only 3 USB-C Thunderbolt 4 ports. Now, why couldn't they give us 4 or 6? Nothing, it doesn't all have to be Thunderbolt 4. It could just be USB-C, you know, give us something, because when you put this on your desk, and so it is a desktop replacement in a lot of ways, you're going to want to hook a lot of different things on it. I mean, I use external SD drives, you know, Thunderbolt 3 drives, right? That's a port. I use my Zoom F6, that's a port. So if I was to put a CF Express card reader in there, type A or type B, I need ports. So that's already eaten up. And then anything else, I'm out of luck. I got to get an adapter for this. And for a laptop that costs this much, Apple, and there's enough room on the side of it now because it's thicker, could have afforded more ports for this, I think, in my personal opinion. Maybe the engineers, whatever, maybe there's a person in charge of ports at Apple that, I don't know, doesn't like them. Maybe they should hire somebody that likes ports, because it needs a little bit more ports for a pro machine. That's my personal take. HDMI is great, but honestly speaking, I mean, some people will use HDMI, I'm not gonna say they're not, but I don't think this was a necessity as much as another USB or 2 USB-C ports. That's just me. Besides that though, I love it. I love it. It's a beautiful machine. It is pricey. It is a heavy investment. I'm not gonna kid you on that. And it's not gonna be for everyone out there. But for those who have the means or has the budget from your company to afford these, you are going to be more than happy with what you get out of this. I mean, everybody else is saying the same thing online. I'm just sort of repeating the same thing, but this is really what this machine is all about. Anyway, I've said a lot about this machine thus far. As you can tell, I like it. I've done 3 videos on it, so obviously I like it. Now, here's a message from our sponsor. Here at Geek Culture, audio is a huge part of our daily lives, both work and play, so what's our choice of headphones? Well, meet the Logitech G435 Lightspeed wireless gaming headset. It lets you listen to all the rich sounds from your music videos and games across PC, console, and mobile while sporting some popping, vibrant colors. Not only that, it weighs just 165 grams, which means sometimes you'll even forget that you're wearing it. With a robust battery life of 18 hours, you can enjoy your gaming sessions for prolonged periods of time. For more details, head over to logitechg.com. All right, thank you so much, Logitech, for the sponsorship and support and helping us keep the lights on here at Geek Culture. We appreciate it. Anyway, final thoughts on this laptop. If you haven't figured it out already throughout this 10 minutes of the review, I love it. It's my favorite MacBook Pro I've ever used from Apple. And I even was using them from the PowerBook era, way back when they were black. I actually like black. Actually, this wouldn't be bad in black, now to come to think about it. Maybe they could improve that. Not just silver, but black. Stealthy black. Bring it back, Apple. Black is back. 2022 MacBook Pro. I'll do the voiceover for you. Right? Zach, you can sweeten that up in post? Black is back. M1 Max. Let's make that happen. Anyway, besides that, I love it. Honestly, it's a great laptop, and for any of you that can afford it, pick it up. You will thoroughly enjoy it. That's it. With that, guys, follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, like this video. Helps out our channel a lot, and it keeps people like Logitech wanting to sponsor our videos as well, which we appreciate, and I'll see you soon. Bye.